Welcome back. Big road win for the Missouri State Bears. I was super proud of the way we traveled. We were professional. We went down there with a made-up mind, and we got it done in a good atmosphere. Again, Coach Simpson does a phenomenal job with their program down there. They're always ready to play. They always fight for four quarters. That's a big win for us as a football team moving forward, going into conference play. As Rick alluded to, family weekend, which is always exciting around here. We've got a good Youngstown State football team coming in, a chance to go 1-0 again this week, and we're excited to prepare.
What do you take from that win, just considering, you had the slower start on offense, then you're able to figure it out that last drive of the first half, bring it into the second half? Just what you see there. I know starting is something I'm sure you're harping on this week, getting off to a better start.
Yeah, I think we showed some resolve. Even though we won the football game, everything wasn't perfect. I alluded to that a little bit after the game, and just beginning in the season, we couldn't find what we needed to find to win. And again, some things weren't perfect, but we found a way to win. And at the end of the day, that's what's important. Whether it's by 1, by 50, it's irrelevant. Win's a win. And again, the players played extremely hard. That's one thing that when you turn the film on, immediately you see. Even though offense came up a little short to start the game, a little slow, they finished the half with a dynamic drive. Well done by Jacob Clark and the guys. Really well executed. And I thought defense flew around all night. I thought we were extremely physical, aggressive, pretty violent at times. And again, I'm looking forward to getting a jump on Youngstown State and see if we can't start off right in the conference.
What do you make of that defensive performance that you can bring into future weeks? Because, we brought up the numbers from UTM a year ago, and even some of the history you've had against them, and being able to hold them under 100 yards rushing, 213 through the air. Just there had to be a lot that you're encouraged by.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it starts with their effort and intensity, and it started with their preparation. The scout team did an unbelievable job giving us a good look because we knew we needed to stop the run. And if we could stop the run, we'd make them put the ball in the air, make the O-lineman pass pro. And I think it was encouraging to see the 4-man rush and 5-man rush that we got on the quarterback to get some sacks, to get some, even the times we didn't sack him, we created some pressures and made him have some bad throws. Secondary played well again. We early in the game, we got beat on the flea flicker. Got to have better eye discipline there, but we were able to rally, get him down, and then I think we had a pretty good game since that point. We were extremely efficient on third down, which is always good. And again, a lot to build on.
Coach, what about the rotation? I noticed it just seemed like every time I looked up and looked down for my notes, there were 2 new defensive ends flying onto the field, linebackers switching in and out all night. One, how hard is it to keep those guys flying in and out and staying fresh? And then how significant do you think that was in the performance that the defense had?
Yeah, that was a great job by our coaching staff having a plan, because that's how you're able to go in and out like that, is to understand who gets these series, who looks tired, and that's just knowing your players. That's the relationship our staff has with our players, and understanding, we need to be full speed all the time. One thing we harp on, and we hear it all the time in our program, is out hit, out hustle. We want guys to have to be carried off the field. They're going to play until they can't play anymore, and it's our job as a coach to understand, hey, he needs a blow. We can get, different guys in, and I think that's a testament to where we're at as a program. In the past years, you were so worried to take a guy off the field because, we didn't have sufficient backups or guys that could come give us quality reps. I think the way that we've been able to develop guys within our program and build consistent depth at those positions has been extremely helpful.
Can you just talk about going into the Valley now? How these last two games have prepared you, and just your thoughts on go through the Valley?
Yeah, I think that again, I really, when you talk about it game by game, it's tough because those teams we played on our non-conference schedule are extremely competitive. But I think it bodes well for moving into our conference, which, again, I'm not sure exact numbers. You would say 15 of the last 20 national champions have come from the Valley, arguably. I don't know how many of them right now are in the top 20. I would say a handful, 5, 6 maybe. You guys could probably answer that better. But, again, it's important to start fast in the Valley. It's not like other conferences where some games you can show up and you're probably going to get an easy win. Every single week in the Valley, you have to be prepared, you have to be ready, you have to understand what it's going to take to win that week and get it done on Saturday. It's really, really nice to have our first conference game at home. I think that's tremendously important for us. And for it to be family weekend's great too. Have families come in, see this beautiful campus, feel the energy that's surrounding our program and the upward trajectory that we're on.
What'd you make of offensive line play? Just got some guys back. It looked like you made some changes to the line throughout the game. Just what do you make of that right now, and just improvement that it needs to make at the same time?
Yeah, it was good to see him back. Obviously, we didn't run the football like we wanted to. The numbers show that. And part of it is kind of what they were giving you on defense. You don't want to run into a bunch of full gap pressures and just run your head against the wall. If you look at the formula that people have used to beat UT Martin, that's kind of been the trend. And fortunately, we have a good enough passing game that we were able to do that. And again, it was kind of the same answer I'm going to give with regards to the defense. With those injuries, guys have been able to show that they can really step in and play and do a nice job with our scheme and understanding how to cut off movement and all that. So we can keep guys fresh now, maybe keep them out of, more easily, moments to be injured, which is nice. When you're fresh, you play with better technique, better effort, and execution. So I think we'll continue to rotate guys in and out as needed, and that's encouraging for our offensive line.
What about the overall run game? You say that they were giving you guys just some looks, but I mean, late in the game when you're trying to milk the clock and you have a good lead, you're trying to get out of there, control the line of scrimmage to win. You guys almost gave them some opportunities there late. And that's a big step the program still needs to take, is trying to win those in front. Just where are you seeing the progression there, and trying to get that, because it's going to get next year. It's going to get a whole lot tougher to do that.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's going to get tougher, but at the same time, when you look at the intricacies of football, when you sit there and you go the old school 4-minute offense, we're going to run the ball down your throat. The defense knows that too. So again, you're going to get run-stopping pressures. You're going to get everyone up to the line. So you have to be able, if you can't just physically outman them, which at this point we can't. Like you said, we still have to grow, and we still have to do some things on the offensive line to get to that position, and we will at some point. But until then, you have to be able to work with what they give you, what's open, what can you take quick game, what can you take shots down the field to continue moving the ball. And yes, I would love to sit there and tell the defense, hey, we're going to hand the ball off 10 times in a row to run this clock out. That's just not how it works. And the way that the offense was able to create some things down the field. And again, I think our screen game has been tremendous. And that's another way to get the ball on the perimeter quickly and effectively, get the ball in your running back's hands without just sitting there handing it off. And that's a testament to our offensive staff, how well they've been game planning and using the tools we got.
Where do you see that? You say just not there yet. You will get there. Just where do you see that development? These guys, guys that you're going to add over the next few years once you get scholarships. How do you get it to the point where you're going to be able to do that?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think you need to physically look at the players you're recruiting. Get some more guys like Big E, Lawise, those big, huge bodies that can move people. But I think anywhere in the country, that's the hardest position to get in football. You look at, I maybe could count 5 teams that can sit there and go, hey, we're going to run the ball and let the defense call their best run pressures and effectively run. That's just not reality. But again, I feel like the guys that are on our current offensive line are doing a tremendous job. I think they're really tough, talented football players, and they're doing a good enough job to get us some wins.
What do you see in this Youngstown State team?
Excuse me?
On film, what do you see in Youngstown State?
Yeah, Coach Phillips has done a great job. I have a ton of respect for him. We've battled since we've been here. It's always, a really good game. The quarterback is different than last year in regards to last year. They had the big kid with the prowess, with the big arm that could really spin it down the field. This year, he's a smaller, more of a Doug Flutie type of body. He can run around. He creates different opportunities with his arms to get the ball to the backfield. The running back, Tyshawn King, really liked him coming out of a place that I spent some time, Northern Michigan. He came from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, transferred there. He's a really good running back. They're always talented on the offensive line. And then at the skill position, they've the wide receivers back, Max Tomczak. I had hoped that he had moved on into some other league or something, but he's still there doing a great job. And then defensively, again, it starts up front for them. They do a great job with their defensive fronts. Linebackers can run and hit, and then they always have coverage ability in the back. It's going to be a battle. Expect another 4-quarter game. It's going to be close. We got to be prepared and be ready to go for a 4-quarter fight.
Glad it's here, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really, really nice. Again, the guys our players going to the Montana Drip, getting home at 6. The the road trip we just took with UT Martin on the back roads, you're getting home at 6. I mean, they've been through it, and they haven't even flinched. And that's impressive. That shows what they're about, what they want to do this season, and they got a made-up mind.
Coach, winning breeds confidence, but at the same time, it can also breed arrogance. So I know you and your coaching staff don't overlook anybody, but how do you make sure your players understand, hey, we want you to play loose and play fast, but don't take them lightly?
Yeah, we're not in a position to take anybody lightly. You know what I mean? And I think that's echoed constantly in our facility. Is, just revisit the last few years. I mean, let alone the years before that. We're not there yet as a program, so we have to stay hungry, stay in the fight, and make sure that everyone understands no one cares about what you did last week. Jacob's about to come talk. I tell him the same thing. You were 80%, great. No one cares, right? We had 5 sacks. No one cares. Be better this week. What can you do with the opportunity you have day in and day out? And I think it helps that's what we always talk about. We talk about how do you go 1-0? How do you find that way to go 1-0? And we've embodied it, and I think we'll continue to do that.
Can you talk about what you learned from your father-in-law, right, about turning around a program? He had success here, and it kind of fell on your shoulders. What have you learned from him or just your own style about what it's taken to go from where this program was to where you can envision it?
Yeah, it's been interesting. The last few moves I've had have been kind of, when I took the job at Central Michigan with Jim McElwain, we took a 1-11 team and then won the MAC West, got into the MAC championship, came here with Bobby, did the same thing, breathed life into a basically dead program. And I think it takes consistency. I think it takes a consistent voice and a consistent vision for what you think the program can look like. And it's all about the players. You can have a bunch of people in this chair. If you don't have players that are bought in and capable of getting done what they need to get done on the football field, it's not going to work anyway. You can use all the buzzwords, catchphrases. It's those guys in the locker room that are totally bought in. They have each other's back. You can just feel a different vibe about them right now, which is really encouraging. I'm pleased with where we're at.
Does this team have the most juice you've been a part of?
Well, the one thing I do think that I've felt differently is our approach after halftime. The one thing that we did do and I felt the best about, not a single coach was yelling, doing anything. The players that lead our team made it a point in the locker room what needed to be done, and there was some intensity there in those conversations, and we went out and did it, which is great.
It's fun listening to you talk about grassroots, just developing within the program. And we've seen it with whether it's Michael Thiessen, Dallas Winter Johnson, Hunter Wood, just development of them. And reading an article this morning about Group of 5 being this farm system and everything. And I know that you've been really excited about what you guys have been able to do with development here. Just you see Caden Weeks coming through. Just what is it about that right now that's working so well that you're starting to see? It's still young and you're seeing the fruits of your labor and what you've poured into these kids.
It is fun, and it's a testament to one thing I believe in, that our staff believes in. The best thing that a coach can do is instill confidence in players. And our jobs as coaches is to give them the tools to excel on the field and in life. And that's a testament to the staff we have here and those guys being able to believe in the vision we're showing and the way to get it done, because Caden is a guy that could have really gone anywhere he wanted to. He had MAC level offers, Conference USA, Sun Belt. And I think it's a testament to him as a man and as the family man he is, wanting to stay close to his family, to be able for them to watch him play. And he believed in himself. One thing that really appealed to me early when recruiting him is he knew who he was, he knew what his foundation was, and he understood that, whether it's at Missouri State or whether it's anywhere else, he could do exactly what he wanted to do with someone that believed in him and put him in a position to make plays.
And what did you see from him specifically, forcing 2 fumbles at critical points?
Yeah, he's really turned it on. He was actually, people probably don't know this, last year he was going to get his first start right before his foot injury. It happened on a Thursday. It was like an off step, and all of a sudden he goes down. And hell, the whole plan was almost centered around him playing Sam Backer that week. And again, every freshman has that sense of, oh no, some gloom and despair. It's just part of your natural progression within a program. And to see him bounce back from that and understand, when you look at him, he looks like he's cut from stone, man. He is the Goliath of a man. He works extremely hard in the weight room. He does things right on and off the football field. And just you saw it this week in practice. I know I always talk about prep, but it's important because I know you guys can't see it every single day like we do. He did every single thing, not every single thing, no one's perfect, but he put himself in position to know that Coach Scott, hey, Coach Scott put me in, I'm going to make plays for you. And he did just that. And one of the best things about it is, you know, a lot of guys can do it in practice. Sometimes it doesn't translate. Guy's a gamer. I'm excited to see what he has the rest of this season and on to a bright future.
Coach, if you landed on a nickname, you told me during the preseason, some of the guys were calling him Hercules, some were calling him the Terminator. Did we land on one?
You know, I don't think it's been penciled in exactly what it is yet, but it'll come to us eventually. Caden's got a pretty sweet name, and I like that name, so Caden works.
Yeah, I just want to ask you, you know, we've seen him truck guys on the high school level here. D1 athletes, completely different story, look the same, looking at those 2 sacks, just running guys over as a terror. What have you seen from him in terms of development over the last year and a half? I'm sure he's obviously been lifting a ton of weights, but how has he been able to translate that to the D1 level?
Yeah, he's a weight room warrior. And again, he's one of the few guys that you look at in high school and you go, he's pretty close already. You know, a lot of guys don't develop quite that young. But Caden, again, is a weight room warrior. He loves football. He's just ate up with the film room. He wants to know how and what can I do to be better and put myself in better positions to make plays. And I think he's got what you want, pretty close to the full package in regards to, you know, I kid with him all the time. He's young. He's got an old football soul. I'm a football fundamentalist myself. Bang the iron around in the weight room, get it done on the football field, and he represents our out-hit, out-hustle pretty well.
And just Connor's first touchdown there, I know you talked about it post-game, but I wanted to ask you again just in terms of, was that something like you felt like that day was going to be the day he finally got a touchdown, or did the situation just present itself, or what went into that play?
Yeah, I would like to say there was more back thought, and that, you know, I was the one being like, hey, Nick, let's get him a touchdown. But I alluded to it talking to Ryan. The Lord works in mysterious ways. I think that was just a part of how the story was about to be written. And it was really, really an amazing thing. We spend a lot of time with these young men, probably sometimes, you know, more than our own families. And in a way, they become an extension of your own family. And I love these guys like my own sons, and I'm extremely hard on them and extremely demanding. But I think that they know no one loves them more than we do, and it starts with their head coach. And I couldn't be more proud of Connor and his, you know, just ability to stick with it and persevere through all those trials and tribulations to get to this point. And again, he texted me after the game. We talked a little bit on the bus ride. Lord's not done with him yet.
Yeah, because the thing is, obviously a lot of people who go through cancer treatments are just trying to get through it, and for him to not only get through that, but also to stay in such great shape and be someone you can rely on like that. What have you seen?
That was probably one of the most incredible things I had seen, because I would stop into some treatments, and I was fortunate enough to be on the list to just kind of be able to stop in and go as I please. And he never really, you know, again, he never really withered away like you see some people going through treatment do, and he would always be walking around and always be doing things to keep himself ready, because there was never a doubt in his mind that he was going to play again. He was going to beat cancer. He was going to play again. And, you know, again, with the heart full of Jesus, anything's possible.
Did he tell you before he got on there, before the UT Martin game a year ago, that he got that phone call?
Yeah, so he got it on the bus, and he was going, and I was made aware of it, that I was about to have a tough conversation with him by one of our assistant coaches. And yeah, we talked about it that day. One of the things that I tried to do, and even when he came back, is I don't like to, he's still Connor Lair. You know, he's a young man that has so much more to offer. And, you know, I know that he loved the 40 strong. He loved all those things that were happening. But I think he's a young man that knows that he is so much more than his illness. But that was a challenging day about a year ago, heading up to UT Martin. And it's one of those things that you're never going to have the perfect words, but I think our presence was enough, and just having his teammates have the ability to wrap their arms around him. You don't have to say anything sometimes to show your heart.